Today on The Art of Lifing with Keka, we're going to talk about the lipstick that was doomed to fail. On my social media feeds recently, I've been seeing a lot of posts from corporate companies around diversity and inclusion. And that always makes me really happy because I think any opportunity we have to be able to learn about each other's perspectives better, to really embrace the richness in the diversity we have in Canada is always a great thing. And, I've always been very lucky as the daughter of immigrants coming into Canada that I had the benefit of growing up enjoying both Eastern culture and Western culture. And even in our schools, when we celebrated Multicultural Week, for example, it was always the joy we got in our differences that was the cause for celebration. So I grew up not just thinking that I'm, a Canadian-born woman who's also Indian, who's also Hindu, these are all sort of attributes that I consider to be part of me, but I don't walk around thinking that that just defines me. So when we think about the terms like visible minority, for example, or the mainstream or majority, obviously people would probably look at me and say, okay, if she lives in Canada, she's part of the visible minority. I've just never really put myself in that type of categorization. I was like, I'm Keka, and yeah, I'm Indian, and yeah, I'm Hindu, and yeah, I'm vegetarian. But I've just, never thought of those differences as something that makes me stand out. So let me tell you about the story of a lipstick that was doomed to fail. And it was part of my journey of discovering this, idea of being in the minority versus being in the majority. So I was 12 years old and I decided I was going to buy my own lipstick. So I'd saved up some money, worked really hard, then I went across to the Shoppers Drug Mart in my neighborhood and I was like, this is the moment I'm going to pick my lipstick. Now, I love the color pink. The first lipstick that I saw that was a really beautiful pink color, I'm like, this is it, I'm going to buy it. I took it home, and when I put it on, oh my God, I looked like a clown. If you could have seen the shock on my face as I was staring at myself in the mirror, I was like, what happened? So clearly that color was not meant for my skin tone. And I learned the hard way that certain colors don't match certain skin tones. And so I would find, usually maybe 2 or 3 colors out of an entire shelf that would actually work for me. And I figured that's just reality. That's the norm. Isn't that the way that it is for everybody? So that's what I thought. Until I went to India when I was 14 and my older cousins who were taking some beauty courses took me up as their guinea pig. And so they were plucking my eyebrows and they were coloring my hair and doing all kinds of things. And we went to a store to buy some lipstick. Now, I'm in Calcutta. And it only dawned on me when I went to buy the lipstick that, hang on, everybody around me has the same skin tone as me. Many of them are my height. I'm actually, in Canada, people would say I'm kind of short at a 5'1" frame, but in Calcutta, I was mainstream. I fit right in. Everybody was 5'1". And so when I started to look at the lipstick colors, I'm like, oh, I don't think that'll work, or I won't think that works. And suddenly every shade I put on worked for me. I didn't look like that clown. And boy, was that an eye-opener for me, where I was like, suddenly, oh, I'm not in the minority anymore. I'm actually part of the majority group. So I actually do feel very grateful that I had a chance to experience both sides of that. And I do think that it's important that we talk about that. There's so much around diversity and inclusion that we want to get politically correct. I just think sometimes we have to laugh at the stories and ask ourselves the questions. And when we do that and we explore, we better understand each other. So I'm going to leave you with one last thought. When I look at buying shampoos, for example, you'll see shampoos that are made for blonde hair or shampoos that are made for redheads, for example. There's a lot of us in Canada, in Toronto, that have black hair, but you'll never see shampoos for black hair, blackhead. There isn't even a term for us where we have black hair. But it just kind of goes to show you the reality that what we live in, we might all be looking at the same thing, but our realities are different. So when it comes to diversity and inclusion, I think that's what we need to look at, is that the experiences that each of us have, even in the same environment, can be different. And so when we really focus and try to see things from a different angle, that's when we better understand each other, and that's when we are richer as a community for it, because we become closer together, celebrating our differences. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, then please like it and share it with anybody that you think might be interested in this content as well. I would also love it if you could subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Tuesday. And last but not least, if you have any comments, I would love to have a conversation with you. Let's do this journey together. Let's master the art of lifing and really do life on purpose.